You know what the most disappointing thing is? It's that the SEC Western Division looks wide open for the taking, and Arkansas doesn't have the offensive line to carry them there. A lot of pieces in place. Let's just take it from the top. This is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, coming to you from Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium for another walk and talk, this time after a 38-31 loss to the BYU Cougars in front of the 8th largest crowd in program history. A terrific, unbelievable weather day, 70 degrees at kickoff. It's Sunday morning now. It's probably upper 50s, low 60s. You start the damn game off with a 55-yard touchdown run. This place is going nuts. Force a 3 and out, and then Isaiah Satania, 88-yard punt return. Couldn't ask for much better than that. Am I about to get wet? And then it just goes blah. You lose all the momentum. Well, let's talk about overall here. 14 penalties for 125 yards, 15 penalties called. 8 called on the offensive line, 7 of them accepted. 5 penalties called on the offensive line on the final drive. You have to win the game, to tie it, I guess. And you get 5 penalties called on you. Man. It just stinks because I stand by what I say, like the pieces that they put together in the offseason, all the stuff that they did to get the culture right, changing, coaches, moving some players out, bringing some key players in. They really got the team up to snuff, like what they need, except for the offensive line. And the concerns that we had last week are the same concerns that we have this week. You just cannot get consistent blocking. KJ Jefferson's pressured all game. This final drive, he's just getting sacked, you're getting holding calls. It was just so disheartening. The lights went out. So disheartening how that was. It was just so sloppy. And that's what hurts more than anything, because I see a lot of talent out there, and they can't protect. Guys, there's a 4-game road stretch coming up here. They're going to Baton Rouge on Saturday. I'll be there. Texas A&M and Arlington after that. I guess you guys saw LSU play today. I say it's wide open, but they look pretty darn good. Then you go to Oxford to play Ole Miss, and then wrap it up with Alabama, just in time for them to get everything figured out at quarterback. There were opportunities with this team, but I just don't know that I know that they can improve, but can they fix it to the point where the offensive line is a weapon for them? Like the team that had 424 yards today lost to the team that had 281 yards. 14 penalties, 125 yards. I mean, these are things that just jump out. There's so the analytics say you go for it at midfield on 4th and 1, right? And I get it. That's what they say. But is Arkansas the worst 4th and 1 team in the country? Because it just keeps on happening. There's a windfall if the numbers are supposed to balance out for Arkansas at some point, someday, where they just get every 4th and 1 just to balance the numbers out. But this is where the momentum changed right here. I mean, Arkansas's defense is playing excellent. You've got all the momentum behind you coming out of the half. You're up. And what are they up 10 at that point? And they don't get this 4th and 1. They go down and score, and everything just changed from that moment on. Just punt. I know the analytics say go for it, and I know it's midfield, and that's different than going for it back on your own 34-yard line. But your defense is playing so well. You've got all the momentum. Do the analytics really measure momentum? And I think you should feel like, you can get enough of a push with KJ under center instead of putting him in the shotgun. But, and then you head down here. It's 4th and 1, and you're going to go for it. And, it's a kind of gotta-have moment, and you jump off sides. Guys, you're not going to beat anybody with 14 penalties. You're just not. There was so much sloppy play. And I want to say something about Isaiah Satania too. And, Sam Pittman said last week, I asked him about that and, why isn't Satania playing more? And, they have some stuff, where they need wide receivers to block. What they need is people blocking for Satania. What they need is to get guys with electricity, running through their veins. That guy, we saw it all spring. We saw it in fall. Get him out on the field. And you've got guys out there. I know Jaden Wilson has made some plays for you, but he also drops passes. To me, he's dropped enough passes to where you say, okay, we're going to give somebody else a shot, and you need to pick it up. You'll get your opportunity at some point, but for now, we got to go another direction. Should get Rocket back next week. That'll help him, but I don't know if there's any saving this offensive line right now. And Sam Pittman said in the press conference, I'm there asking questions, front row. I appreciate a lot of what Sam Pittman has done, but man, this is year 4. It's time to take that next step. There's opportunities to do that. I feel like they made the right moves in the offseason. Maybe they didn't get it right on the offensive line. What an incredible night. Great crowd. They hung around. They started dissipating late, a little bit early. People are trying to get to their cars. I get it, but Arkansas was in it right till the end, and I don't know, just didn't. I mean, you can't have 5 penalties on your final damn drive of the game and expect to pull it out. And it just seemed like also like there were so many times where Arkansas was ready to put their foot on their neck and something would happen, like an untimely penalty. I mean, or going for it on 4th down or having a fumble. It just seemed like there were so many times where they could have put the game away and they just didn't. But to put up 424 yards and hold them to 281, like, guys, this defense, the changes that they've made on defense, pretty impressive, the job they did. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how they put up 38 points. Well, I mean, you have a fumble on your own end, you throw an interception, you go for it on 4th down at midfield and don't get it. Those types of things are going to be the problem. What's this future look like? I mean, I just mentioned it. It's a tough road stretch coming up, and guys, it absolutely could get ugly. They lock me in here. There's a padlock on that. Like, I might actually be locked in this time. Yeah, I can see a padlock on this. All right, so this is interesting. We are locked in. I'm gonna have to go down and around, so a little bit different walk here for you guys. I know everybody's got to be extremely disappointed. You should be. And I can take it back to when these walk-in talks really started, originating during the Chad Morris era and all the problems that we saw with Arkansas. This is going to be an interesting walk and talk because I'm going to have to not walk all the way to my car. Walk all the way back down here. This is the first time they've ever just locked us in. So, that era with Chad Morris, when things were just such a disaster, and Sam Pittman came in and breathed life into the program, got things back on track to where Arkansas is respectful, not getting humiliated. Still we saw them lose games and everything, and lose games that you think they shouldn't have lost. But it wasn't just getting humiliated over and over again. Obviously, the the Liberty game last year sticks out as a major disappointment in the Pittman era. But it got the program back to respectability. Got it back on firm footing. You just wish they would just take this next step, and it feels like all those pieces are in place, but the offensive line I hate to just keep harping on the offensive line, and Brady Latham, probably played his worst game. He's done so much for this university over the years and just did not play very well. And, Pittman has pointed to some injuries issues they have. Devon Manuel just keeps getting injuries. He had an injury that they didn't really disclose in fall camp. He had, an ankle injury. Now he's got a stinger, and it's just stuff that keeps him out. He's talked about, some hand injuries. Hopefully those are things that, get fixed and get healed up and can make Arkansas more competitive up front on the offensive line. But they're going to face better defensive lines than they faced tonight. BYU was, surprisingly good up front on the defensive line. But I don't know. The defense, when the defense plays like that, you got to win the game. When your special teams play like that, you got to win the game. Disappointed to see Max Fletcher have a couple of bad punts. He had a 10-yard punt and a 28-yard punt. That's obviously disheartening. He was especially booming it. Like, I can sit in the press box. There's not a lot of punters that when I'm sitting up here in the press box and the punts are coming up like over me, like above eye level. None of the other punters have that. And for some reason, Max just keeps, I don't know, having those weird moments where he punts at 10 yards and out of bounds. I mean, he also had 52-yarders, 49-yarders. He punted well overall today, except for those two, and he has punted well this season. So it looks like, you know, I don't know, guys. You should not lose a game to BYU where you put up 424 yards and you're the home team, you hold them to 281. Everything, like literally everything, points to Arkansas having, you know, should have won this game. Just want to, like, I don't know what I want to do, but I'm disappointed. You're disappointed. It's a tough stretch coming up, guys. It could be, who knows what happens in football. I mean, you see stuff all the time. What Florida did to Tennessee, that's obviously surprising. There's all kinds of things like that happen in college football, but Arkansas has got to figure something out on the offensive line. I think they've got to get Devon Manuel healthy. I mean, obviously that's not something you can just like, oh, we got to go do that. Why didn't we do that? It's got to happen. Get you a look here at the stadium. Am I going to have to like climb over something to get out of here? Maybe. All right. Well, I mean, I've kind of got to wrap this walk and talk up because of I can't get them locked. They've locked me in the stadium. So, all right, everybody. I don't know what else to say, but 14 penalties for 125 yards, 15 total penalties, 14 that were accepted, just too many. Get Isaiah Satania on the field. He's got to play. Get Rocket Sanders back healthy. Get this offensive line in some kind of shape. I mean, I know Pittman's talking about hand injuries and stuff like that. They've just got to get healthy, maybe explore some different options. I don't know. I'm sure he's going to do all that stuff. And I know he's as disappointed as anybody. I mean, you know he is. You know these players are too. But it's early in the season. You got to go back to the drawing board. And, I mean, hell, I say you got to go back to the drawing board. You got to stop committing so many penalties. You got to get the offensive line shored up. I feel like if you do that, then, you know, you've got a chance with this team. But I don't know if you can just go and it's as easy as just fixing it like that. So we'll see what happens. All right, I'm about to literally like hop over a fence. So thanks for joining me, guys. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We'll catch you next time.